what's some safety things people need to be thinking about, make sure they have on their boat, and all that for this time of year?
Well, like y'all have already said, life jackets,
Number one, isn't it?
Number one, we can't preach it enough. Life jackets, everybody on the boat needs to have a life jacket. It needs to be in great shape. It needs to be in good shape. It needs to fit the folks that are on the boat. So, and kids, kids 12 years of age and under have to be wearing that life jacket at all times while the boat is underway.
The award-winning Tennessee WildCast is on the air with the latest on hunting, fishing, boating, wildlife watching, and all things outdoors. Make welcome your host, drummer and outdoor expert novice, Jason Harmon.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Tennessee WildCast on the lake here at Percy Priest Lake.
Yes.
I'm excited to be outside today. I love getting out when we can, and happy to be here on the lakeside of Percy Priest Lake here in Middle Tennessee with a couple of great guys, a couple of officers, Captain Matt Majors and Officer Josh Landrum. So glad to have you guys.
Thank you for letting us be here, Jason.
Yep, good to be here.
The show's all about boating, right, Don?
Yeah, this is their office pretty much, isn't it?
They're out here all the time.
Thinking about it, yeah.
So we've been out here today shooting a few videos and some informational stuff, but I thought we'd try to get a show out of it
today. The rain has held off, and thank you for that. And we're glad to be here, and thank you guys for all you do to keep the boaters safe out here on the lake and all the Tennessee waters. Really,
it's more than a full-time job.
Oh man,
I can assure you of that.
I know it.
Yeah, these guys are out on the water almost 24/7 working and keeping our lake safe, our river safe, and we appreciate what they do. So we're just going to chat boating today. It's that time of year. It's time to be outside, time to get on the water, and we just want to talk about safety and some of that kind of stuff. So let's just jump right in. First, I wanted to talk about an initiative that's been around a while. It's coming up soon, July 2nd through the 4th, you said? It's called Operation Dry Water. Tell us about that, Matt. Tell us what that is and what the officers will be doing and who they'll be collaborating with as well.
Good question. Operation Dry Water has been around since 2009, and this is a national effort to get a real focus, educational and enforcement on boating under the influence. Oftentimes our boaters are very much aware of not operating motor vehicles under the influence, but their approach to driving a boat under the influence is a lot more lackluster sometimes. So it's a good time to not only educate them about the dangers of that, but it's also a good time for lots of officers to saturate the waterways and make sure people are not operating vessels under the influence of alcohol and drugs.
Well, it's a busy time of year on the water for sure. It's a good time to be out enforcing and trying to keep our water safe because there's a lot of people out on 4th of July and that time of year.
They are. And we oftentimes partner with a number of different agencies during that time. Local police departments, sheriff's departments doing DUI patrols and saturations. They'll come closer to the lakes because they know that's where people are going to be at. So we'll partner with them. It really expands our numbers and expands our visibility. And that's what we want to do is we want people to know that we're looking for those impaired operators. At the end of the day, we want you to come have a good time, but there is no place for an impaired operator on our waterways, and our statistics with injuries and fatalities show that.
As we've said many times, our waters are a great place to fish, boat, and recreate, but there is that, you got to be safe. You got to be thinking about wearing that life jacket and not drinking and boating and all those factors that play in. But it is a great place to be. Tennessee is got a lot of great opportunities.
100% agree. And we're seeing a lot more designated operators these days, and that's because of the good work by our enforcement officers in the field. Josh and the team that work around Percy Priest and throughout our entire state, they're trained to look for and detect these impaired operators, and they're doing a good job. And they report back a lot of times that, hey, I checked a lot of people today and I didn't find any impaired operators, and that is a success for us.
Oh man, yeah,
absolutely.
Great
because
news.
We know our message is getting out there, and our waterways can be safer because of the good enforcement efforts by our officers throughout the state.
Yeah. Well, Josh, what's that saying? An impaired boater is an impaired driver?
Driver.
So, once they leave the water,
they're getting home somehow.
Right.
And so if they get out here and get too intoxicated on the waterway and we don't stop them, then they're getting in a vehicle and they're going to be an impaired driver on the highway.
Yeah. So that's one of the reasons they're partnered with, during that time anyway, partner with those sheriff departments and highway patrol and all that to keep our roads safe as well.
And an impaired boater, a lot of times you're out in the sun, you're out in the rocking of the boat, and the effect of the alcohol and all on your system is magnified, isn't it, during that period?
Definitely. Alcohol and outdoors, you're going to get impaired way quicker out here.
Right.
Due to what you just said, all the elements, the wind, the sunshine, the waves, all that creates a really toxic situation if you're drinking.
Yeah.
Dehydration, I guess, plays a factor in that too, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit of safety things that folks need to think about out on the water. You're out there all the time in the summer, even in the winter, working the water. What's some safety things people need to be thinking about, make sure they have on their boat and all that for this time of year?
Well, like y'all have already said, life jackets,
Number one, isn't it?
Number one, we can't preach it enough. Life jackets, everybody on the boat needs to have a life jacket. It needs to be in great shape. It needs to be in good shape. It needs to fit the folks that are on the boat. So, and kids, kids 12 years of age and under have to be wearing that life jacket at all times while the boat is underway. So that's kind of the stuff that, we look for quite a bit. If we pull up on a boat and we do see a child that appears to be under 12 not wearing a life jacket, that's when we'll address that.
Yeah, and I think I've mentioned this before, but and correct me if I'm wrong, but those inflatables, they're good, but you have to be wearing it to count, right? As a life jacket on board.
That is correct. If you got a PFD, an inflatable, and it'll say it on the label there, on the U.S. Coast Guard label, it'll say that to be counted as a wearable or as a life jacket, you need to be wearing it. So.
Okay, so it don't count if it's stowed away. It's not something you need to have it on for sure. I feel like just recently those Coast Guard labels are changing. I think I saw something about that. They may look a little different this year, so keep an eye out for that. Things are changing a little bit on those labels, but check your labels, make sure it's Coast Guard approved. It'll say it, and
there's a lot of pool type for children, pool type floaties that are not approved for the boating environment. So check your label, make sure it is a U.S. Coast Guard approved life jacket and that it's the right size for the individual that's wearing it.
Yeah.
Are you seeing a lot more inflatables out there? Are they becoming more popular now?
Definitely, they're extremely popular. And
I know they are with me. Whenever
me
I
too.
go, I strap one of those on and I'm good to go.
That's what I wear out there. And I love it. It makes it way more comfortable, way more easy to wear during the summertime. So there's a bunch of them out there now.
Tend to just kind of forget you have it on too after just a couple of minutes. So that's good.
Well, a few weeks ago we had Safe Boating Week. It's important to stay safe. We've got a little initiative going on for that. But what's some other tips and things that you need to know about? Like we haven't mentioned the throwable. Got to have that. What's some other things you got to have on your boat this time of year to stay safe?
Yeah, so typically when I pull up on someone and ask them to see their safety equipment, I'll ask them for their life jacket, of course, and then a U.S. Coast Guard approved throwable. So people usually call them seat cushions, but they're not seat cushions. It's an actual throwable device that you can throw to somebody if they're in danger of drowning. That is required, and a fire extinguisher. So
a working one, right?
A working fire extinguisher, correct? It's not expired, and I run across a lot of expired fire extinguishers, and that's just something. A lot of people say, "Man, I've never even taken that fire extinguisher out," and I tell them, "Well, it's a good time to learn because I need to see. We need to check it to make sure it's not expired." And you'll be amazed how many expired fire extinguishers that I come across. And so that's one of my biggest tips I can tell people is, before you get out there on the water this summer, check your fire extinguishers. If you've never pulled it out, sometimes those latches can be a little tricky on those fire extinguishers, and it's a great time to check your fire extinguisher and learn how to get it out of that strap.
Yeah,
you need to have it.
Exactly. Hey, what is the average life cycle of a fire extinguisher they might have on board?
Well, it can vary from for a lot of different reasons. I mean, if you store your boat indoors, your fire extinguisher.
So environmentally,
environment. Yeah.
Okay.
So. But so I really can't say if there's a good expiration date on them. But the metered ones, I mean, usually that's pretty accurate. If you see that meter on there, that shows that it's still good. Those are the best ones to get.
Yeah.
Well, if you're not already out on the water this year, right now is a good time to go through your boat and make sure you got all that stuff. It's not dry rotted or in good condition as you start out the boating season, for sure. Let's talk a little bit about accidents. Last year was pretty big for accidents. A lot of new boaters out there.
A lot of people wanting to get outdoors because of the COVID thing. So,
Matt, I know you were busy investigating a lot of accidents and things.
Absolutely. One of the things we saw with everybody that, got to start working from home, they changed their schedules and they were able to get outdoors a lot more, which is exactly what our agency wants. We want you outdoors. We want you on the water. We want you in the woods and enjoying the great natural resources we have. But with that become a huge sale surge in boats. Many of the boat ramps were packed to capacity well before they normally are, and we were seeing larger numbers of boats on the water. So with that comes new boaters and older boaters as well. It doesn't matter how long you've been doing it. Many of those people were involved in accidents. Unfortunately, our numbers were up. We had about 32 fatalities last year, which was really, really high, the highest we'd had in 30 some odd years. So when we look at those statistics at the end of the year, we want to know how, from an educational standpoint, we can assist the boaters in reducing those injuries and fatalities, as well as from an enforcement standpoint. And some of the statistics we saw were navigation rules violations, just people not paying attention briefly. A lot of these people that were involved in boating accidents, they're not bad people and they did not mean for this to happen. But that doesn't change the fact that these were very preventable by paying attention, good common sense, keeping that operator in a state that they're not impaired. A few beers may be impaired for somebody, but somebody may be able to drink a little bit more and not be impaired. There is no such law that says you can't have an open container of an alcoholic beverage on our waterways, but we want those operators, they are the captains of that ship, and we want them to be responsible for everybody on the boat. So just that impaired operation and negligent operation, just that careless, reckless, boaters say, hey, I'm just having a good time. And while they are having a good time in their mind, some of those activities that they're engaged in, spraying each other, pulling skiers too close to the shore or the dock, or not paying attention for those brief few minutes, all of those things were leading to injuries and some of them even fatal incidents. So, we can prevent that by making sure everybody's wearing life jackets. It's like a seatbelt. You never know when you're going to need that seatbelt.
Right.
And it may only be once or twice a lifetime that you would need a seatbelt. Same way with your life jackets. I've stood by many grieving families on our waterways, and they said, they could swim fine. I don't understand. And the answer to that is if you wear a life jacket all the time, it doesn't matter when that time is, you'll be ready. And if you are unconscious, then people can pull you right out immediately. But if you go under, oftentimes it's much more challenging for us to find you quickly and then provide those emergency life-saving efforts that we do. So, yes, accidents are preventable. They're numerous on our waterways, but our officers are doing a good job at educating the public. Our educators are doing an excellent job through boater education.
Right.
Anybody born after January 1st, 1989 is required to take a boater education course before they operate that boat by themselves on the waterways. So all of these things coupled together are going to, through the long range of our boating future, are going to work together to create a safer boating environment.
That happens to be the year my daughter was born, so I always remember that one, 1989, and so that puts it about 32 years now. And you said, Matt, as things progress, and more folks are required to do that, before long we'll have 40-year-olds that have been boater ed certified. So
it's amazing for me to see, just in the 13 years that I've been working, how many more boating licenses I'm running across now. I mean, it's really caught on. There's a lot of people that have got online or went to one of the officers' classes and took the class, and it's great to see and encouraging to see. Even people born prior to January 1st, 1989, I've seen with their boating license.
Right.
And they're proud to pull it out and show that they did it.
There's so much great information in there, and I kind of see it a little bit along the lines of hunter education. If a
a young person needs it, the parent, they're going to come along and they're going to, wow, I learned some things, when I sat through the class with my kid.
Might be surprised.
Yeah, exactly. Even though I've been boating for 20 years, it's neat.
Mm-hmm.
Well, those classes are on our website, tnwildlife.org, under the boating section. But tell folks that are listening and watching, what's the steps? You got to have a certain permit, right? Talk us through the steps to take a class.
So if you want to take a class, like you said, go to our website. The student would have to buy a Type 600 permit. It's a $10 permit, and bring that with them to the class.
Okay.
Upon completion of the class, if they come to one of the classes the officers hold, if they bring that permit with them at the end of the class and they pass the class, the officer will put a holographic sticker on there. That'll be their temporary license until the agency mails their card to them in the mail.
Okay.
So we make it really easy. They can also get online on our website again, and there's libraries across the state and almost every county where they can go to a library and get with the librarian and take the class on a computer.
So you don't have to sit in front of a class all day long. You can go that route.
Study on your own.
Study on your own.
Be ready to take the test when you come in. Yeah.
But that Type 600 permit would be required for both of them.
Okay.
And it's cheap, affordable, and $10, and you have a boating license for the rest of your life.
And like I said, you see more and more, and even those that aren't required. I mean, why not, right? Why not take it? And and you know the navigation laws and everything. There's some pretty powerful videos. I've sat through some classes and seen some of the videos that y'all show, and it just show this can happen. You got to be careful.
Yeah.
Got to know your navigation rules and all that good stuff.
And a shout out to Betsy Woods.
Yeah, Betsy.
For heading, getting a lot of people educated over the years.
Absolutely. I've watched her for years, and her passion is second to none for educating young boaters all the way to anybody who wants that.
Yep.
And, just hearing some of those success stories of people who've been boaters all their life, and I'll find them in places, and they say, Betsy taught this class. And I was surprised at all I learned. And so without pioneers like her and people to push the education component forward, it really pairs perfectly with our law enforcement aspect as well.
Right. I know many years she's secured those grants that have helped get the inflatables out there, especially for fishermen. She's really got a heart for guys my age,
young men.
Yeah, young guys, maybe around retirement age or along in there where they're out there and they've been fishing a lot of years and think they're invincible and pull up in a cove and one thing or another happens and they're in the water and they can't get back in the boat. It's it's a sad situation. I know Betsy's really had a heart for folks like that and has really tried to target guys that might be out there fishing and getting them the inflatables. So
me and Matt both have worked way too many accidents that dealt with just a health issue. And like you said, they end up in the water, and if they were just wearing an inflatable, they might have survived it.
Right.
And so that's what's great about those inflatables. Even the belt ones are great for somebody that fishes. And it could very well save your life. So
80% of the fatalities that we have are drowning related. They're not trauma related. So we know that from statistics that we can prevent 80% of the drownings on our waterways with those 80% wearing a life jacket. The challenge is when people go to the lake, they don't know when something's going to happen.
Right.
They've been to the lake, it's beautiful. Nothing could happen, right? But occasionally it does, and we want them prepared by wearing that life jacket. And we've had some success stories, people that have fallen out of boats or turned a kayak over here and there, and we get them up to the shore, and they will tell us, if it wouldn't have been for that life jacket, this would have had a different outcome. So it's not just us saying it, it's the general public saying it. Those life jackets will save your life.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you mentioned kayaks. Talk a little bit about what's required with a kayak, and I wanted to get in registration a little bit. What kind of boat has to be registered, and what doesn't have to be registered? Can you touch on some of that?
Yes. So kayaks, paddle sports are becoming super popular. Obviously I work in the Nashville area on the Cumberland River. We got folks that are renting the kayaks and paddle boards out there. Super popular. It's just we got some great rivers to float.
Yeah.
Buffalo River, the Duck River, the Red River, the Holston River.
You're giving all my secrets away now.
I know, man. I know. But so on those kayaks, you have to have a life jacket. Same deal. Anybody that is again 12 years of age and younger that's on a kayak or paddleboard has to be wearing that life jacket at all times.
Has to be wearing it.
And again, the throw cushion is not a life jacket. So a lot of people in canoes and kayaks, they like to grab a throw cushion because they are comfortable to sit on, and they think that that's their life jacket. But it does have to be a U.S. Coast Guard approved wearable life jacket. So that's definitely the most important piece of equipment. And same thing on paddleboards. You don't have to be wearing it unless you're 12 years of age or younger, but it's got to be with you on that paddleboard.
Okay. Yeah, it's amazing how many times we go back to the life jacket.
I know if I were ever on a paddleboard, I would have to be wearing a life jacket.
You don't just sit down the whole time?
I'd spend a lot more time in the water than I would up on the paddleboard.
That's something I haven't tried. So, yeah, I thought I'd probably be in the water,
I haven't either, but I need to.
So I say I've got a kayak. Do I have to register it?
You do not have to register it unless you put a trolling motor on it.
Okay.
So a lot
Talk
of
us through that. Yeah.
A lot of people want to put a trolling motor on their kayaks, and that's great. That's fine. But if you put that trolling motor on there, technically, by law, you do have to have that kayak registered. So, and it's just the same process as registering a normal boat. Take your bill of sale to your county court clerk. You'll pay your taxes off of what you paid on that kayak, and then they'll give you a sheet of paper that's a Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency registration paper that you fill out, and you'll mail that in to our agency with the appropriate dollar amount for that vessel.
Sure.
And then we'll mail you back your registration.
Get your stickers and
Yep.
put them on there just like a regular boat.
Yep. Yes, sir.
And you can renew your boats at GoOutdoorsTennessee.com.
Yes.
Right? All that's online. Buy your fishing license there, hunting license, and all that fun stuff. Even buy one of those hats
Man,
you're
you
wearing.
can get a cap. What cool? What is it?
Hyper cool, I think.
Hyper cool. Yeah, I'm wearing the Hyper Cool hat today, and it is lightweight. But there's a lot to choose from online, like you said, Jason. Mugs, drinkware,
buffs, all that fun stuff,
Oh,
stickers.
yeah.
But yeah, a lot of stuff can be found right there at GoOutdoorsTennessee.com. And the most important thing is getting that license, because y'all are checking licenses too. I mean, it's not just about registration and having the life jackets. Those guys are out there fishing. You got to have the right license for that kind of stuff too.
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of fishermen out here on the weekends and throughout the week. So, yeah, make sure you have your fishing license, because you're definitely going to get checked before you see you fishing, usually.
A lot of people want to say, well, that's my right to fish, but that's, that's just not how it is, I guess. It's not, you got to have a license here in Tennessee, and it's minimal, to go out and have a good time for the whole year.
Best buy around. It really is.
Well, I want to dive in maybe to some of the equipment that you guys use. Man, I know you are, it's not, you don't want to use it. It's not something that you want to do, but you've got some cool gear that help you with these investigations and these searches and things like that. Talk us through some of that.
That's a good question. Oftentimes we're looking for underwater evidence, whether that's boats or missing property off boats that were involved in boat accidents, but also, unfortunately, people that go down. Our officers on their patrol boats, they have side scan sonar, so prior to, me ever getting on scene, they have the ability to look underwater and see what's there. Sometimes there's a lot of stuff down there, trees, rocks, stumps, you name it, it's down there, but sometimes there's not much down there, and they are able to identify really quickly where what we're looking for is there or whether it's not there. We do have some specialized equipment, underwater remote operated vehicles that we'll use, and those have been tremendous at finding very quickly, if we have a good point last seen of where a crash happened, not only evidence but also assisting local rescue squads with those body recoveries.
Sure.
We hate to have to use it, but it's just the reality of the waterways. They're using them in many, many other states, but one of the biggest things I've seen that do is provide that closure to the families, because there is nothing more challenging for a family than to not know where their loved one is. So just the quick recovery by use of this equipment has provided that closure that those families need. And we hate that we have to use that, but it is a necessary reality, and we've used it all over the state. And it's paid for itself time and time again because of getting our guys in the rescue squads, fire departments, EMS, completed with their mission, with their task as quickly as possible, and providing that much needed comfort and solace to the families that are involved in these incidents.
Yeah, and it's been a good tool for other searches as well, not just fatalities on the water or accidents. You've been able to help other organizations, other agencies with
absolutely. Stolen equipment, stolen cars, helping other departments close out cases where they have criminal involved cases, looking for evidence there. The State Bureau of Investigation, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, many local city and county departments. So all of those together, it helps our agency partner with them, and because we need them just as much as they need us sometimes. These local police departments, sheriff's departments, state highway patrol, they are our backup oftentimes. Our officers are very few and far between, so they really count on them. So anytime we can give back to them by assisting them with our equipment, we make every effort to try to do that.
And I want to say that our guys aren't out there to write the ticket. They love to stop. You love to stop and talk to people and just shoot the bull. And you're not out there to give everybody a bad day. But you got to do your job. But you enjoy what you do, and you enjoy talking to folks.
Oh yeah, people come out on the lake to have fun, and I know that, our officers know that, and so yeah, we're not out there just to write tickets. We're out there keeping people safe.
Yeah.
And 99.9% of the people out there are great people. They love seeing us. They treat us wonderful on our lakes, and we greatly appreciate everybody that talks to us.
The respect and all that you
talks
get.
to us when we're out there.
Yeah.
So,
I'm sure there's a few that's like, oh, here comes the boat. But, most of them, I love when you guys stop by and talk to me. So. Well, real quick before we run out of time, I wanted to thank you guys, the full-time boating officers and the part-time guys. We got a lot of part-timers out there that help you all out.
We do, yeah, and they're crucial. They're crucial for us because
manpower, peak times in the summer.
We need the manpower.
Yeah.
So they
come out of the sheriff departments and retired police officers and things like that, right?
Yep. A lot of them are, school resource officers. They're working full time for their department during the school year, and then during their summertime they're helping us out.
That's awesome. Couldn't do it without you guys. Couldn't do it without those folks helping out. Can't do it without investigators. Couldn't do it without the educators. But
that's right.
It's a team effort, and just be safe on the water, right?
Absolutely. We're so proud of our boaters and all the good things that they do. Unfortunately, we have to be involved in a few of the silly things they do as well. But our lakes and rivers, they're full of some incredibly awesome people. And our job couldn't be any better because of them and the efforts that they give us and the respect that they show us. So we're thankful for them too.
Yeah, for sure. That's a great way to sum it up there. Tennessee's a great place to be. You got a lot of water to have fun on. Great fishing, great boating.
Yeah.
From East Tennessee to West Tennessee, we got it all. So,
if they see us out there, wave us down this summer.
That's why our officers do what they do, because they grew up doing this stuff too. For 99% of them, really.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
All right. Well, guys, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yep,
you bet.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming to visit my office.
Yeah. I'll have to do this more often.
Yeah,
I'll talk to my boss. But anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Don, thank you for jumping in here with me today.
You bet.
And we'll see you next time on Tennessee WildCast.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay connected with TWRA by visiting our website at tnwildlife.org and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hey, it's all about Tennessee wildlife. It's what we do. Tennessee WildCast will be on the air again next week. We'll see you then.